We'll give it a couple of more minutes and then we'll get started. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपतमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas on the call. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So we are in the section of Bhagavatam where the different Leela avatars are described. How did we get to this point? In the previous chapter, we have we have Brahma telling that he is going to describe all the Leela avatars now that he has described how Krishna creates this entire universe, maintains it, and annihilates it through the medium of Mahavishnu. So first he spoke about the role of Mahavishnu, how he creates, maintains, and destroys this universe. And now he's going to speak about how the Supreme Lord comes in various incarnations and he performs pastimes to uplift the conditioned living entities. So it's a very beautiful chapter, chapter 7, because it talks about the scheduled incarnations with specific functions. And we have already seen a similar topic of discussion in Canto 1, Chapter 3, where about 22 different incarnations were mentioned. So in this section also, we are going to see the different incarnations that happen in every Manvantara. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. So the first 8 verses have already been covered. The first 8 incarnations that is discussed in this chapter begins with Varaha. So we know how the Lord incarnated as Varaha, the boar incarnation. He is an embodiment of all sacrifices. He lifted the earth when the earth slipped from its position and drowned in the Garbhodak ocean. And of course, he pierced Hiranyaksha and he kills him. Next incarnation that is mentioned is Suyagnya, also called as Yagnya, who married Dakshina. And he was the son of Ruchi and Akuti. We will see the story later also in the Bhagavatam. So Swayambhuva Manu, he had 2 sons and 3 daughters. So we are going to see all of these stories in the future. And one of the daughters of Swayambhuva Manu was Akuti. Akuti was married to a rishi by the name Ruchi, and they had the Supreme Lord as their son. The Supreme Lord was called as Yagnya, or also he was called as Suyagnya. And he begot demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. And he took the position of Indra in that particular Manvantara, and he diminished the miseries of the 3 worlds. And he was also called as Hari by Swayambhuva Manu. So this is about Suyagnya, second incarnation that is mentioned in this chapter. The third incarnation mentioned in this chapter is Kapila. We all know about Kapila, third canto, very well-known pastime of Lord Kapila, who appeared as the son of Kardama and Devahuti, and he spoke the science of self-realization, Sankhya Yoga, to his mother, and he liberated her in that very lifetime. The next incarnation mentioned is the fourth one, which is Dattatreya. Dattatreya, as the name suggests, he appeared as the son of Atri Maharishi and his wife, Anasuya. And he gave himself to Atri Anasuya. So it became Dattatreya. So that's how he gets his name. And he purified everyone by his teachings, and he gave material and spiritual blessings. That was Dattatreya. Then the next incarnation mentioned is the 4 Kumaras. They are empowered incarnations of the Lord. They appeared when Brahma underwent austerities for creation, and they established the spiritual truth that was lost from the previous Kalpa. That's why the Kumaras are an embodiment of the Lord's potency of knowledge, Jnana Shakti. The next was a very interesting incarnation, Naranarayan. They are the twins incarnation, and they appeared as the son of Murti and Dharma. Murti was one of the daughters of Daksha. This story also we will see in the forthcoming chapters. The story of Naranarayan, very interesting story, and how they were performing very great austerities. And looking at their austerities, as usual, our Indra got a little worried, and he sends cupids. But then he sends apsaras, but then our Lord, he creates hundreds and thousands of beautiful apsaras, and Indra stood, completely startled in front of Naranarayan Rishi, and they were not disturbed by lust at all. The next incarnation mentioned is the 8th incarnation, who is the Lord who came for the sake of Dhruva Maharaj. This Lord is called as Prishni Garbha. We know how Prishni and Sutapa, they performed austerities to obtain the Lord as their son. And the very first incarnation was Prishni Garbha. And of the Lord who appeared in the womb was Prishni Garbha. Then again he appeared as Vamana, as the son of Aditi Kashyapa. And again he appeared as the son of Krishna, as the son of Devaki in the womb. As a son of Devaki in her womb. So this was about Prishni Garbha, who came for the sake of Dhruva Maharaj. So now we are going to the 9th incarnation. I think 9th incarnation is also covered, right? Let's see till where we have covered. I think Mataji said only from verse number 9 I should cover. 7, 8. Oh yeah, Dhruva's Charitra is done. So now we have to start from Maharaj Veena. So Maharaj Veena is not an incarnation, but his son Prithu Maharaj is an incarnation. So this is where we are starting today, verse number 9. Yatvenamutpatagatam dvijavakyavajra निष्प्लुष्टपौरुषभगं निरये पतन्तं त्रात्वात्तितो जगति पुत्रपदं च लेभे धुक्ता वसूनि वसुधा सकलानि येन. Anyone wants to read translation, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay. Maharaj Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this King Vena was burned with his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned king, Vena, from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we know the story of Vena. Again, it is described later in the 4th canto. Vena was a king, but he was not a righteous king. And he tortured all the living entities. He disrespected the Brahmanas, and he wanted the world to worship him as the supreme. And he was creating a lot of havoc. He was tried to correct by the the Brahmanas tried to correct him, but still he would not listen, and he created a lot of disorder in society. So the Brahmanas went to the extent of killing him through chanting mantras. Because they thought that such a terrible king should not exist. It is very, very bad for the kingdom. So the Brahmanas, they didn't have a choice but to utter certain heavy mantras that were as good as thunderbolts and finish off Vena. Now that Vena was killed, Earth, Bhumi was relieved. But however, they needed a successor. So Vena's body was churned, and from this body, different aspects of his body was churned, and different creatures came out of that body. Again, we will see that later. But then, after everything, all the negativity was removed, it was left with something, the body was left with something positive to churn out, and that is when Prithu and Archi, they come out. Prithu and Archi were eternally the parts of Narayan and Lakshmi. So they were actually wedded to each other also. And the Prithu Maharaj, he is considered an incarnation of the Lord. According to some commentaries, yes, he's also considered the empowered incarnation of the Lord, but he had an amsha of the Supreme Lord. So that was about Prithu Maharaj. And it's interesting that this particular verse tells that he delivered his father from hell. Now, this is not mentioned in the elaborate story that comes later, but in this one verse, some secret is revealed, right? So, in this one verse, what is revealed? Not only the story of Vena and Prithu, that Vena was a bad king and the Brahmanas had to kill him, and then they produced Prithu out of his body. Not just that. That story we will read in detail. And we'll also see how Prithu Maharaj exploited, not really exploited, rather, we should say here at this point in time, he churned Mother Earth. He churned Vasudha. Vasudha is earth. The meaning of Vasudha is one who has all the abode. She's the abode of all the Vasus. Vasu means wealth. So Vasuni Vasudha Sakalani Yena. So the word used here is dugdha. Dugdha means to churn out. Just like you have the milkman who's churning out the milk from the udder of the cow. So like that, Ritu Maharaj, he milked the earth of all her produce. Vasu means the wealth that the earth holds. So she's called as Vasudha. So, what did Prithu Maharaj do? He churned Mother Earth and he took out all the good ingredients from her so that everybody could be benefited. Actually, because of Vena's rule, Mother Earth was hiding all the produce. She was not giving out all her produce that she was generally willing to give because the king was not righteous. But then Prithu Maharaj, he ensured that everything was set right after the death of his father. Now, the beautiful part of this verse is that after the death of his father, it's not that he just gave up on his father and that's it. He didn't do anything for his father's benefit. So, what did he do? He took the efforts to deliver his father. Now, that is interesting. That section we don't see in the later part of Bhagavatam. But this one purport, Prabhupada tells us about this secret. So it appears that Vena later he has a vision that his father is suffering and he had developed leprosy and he was born in a Mlecha family. And this is described in the Vamana Purana. In the Vamana Purana, it is said that Maharaj Vena, because of his sins, he was in a very, very hellish condition and he was suffering from leprosy in a family of Mlechas. So when this vision was seen by Prithu Maharaj, he goes and brings his father, who was suffering like this, to Kurukshetra, and there his purification happened. He performed many yajnas, and finally, Vena was purified from his sins. He was relieved from a hellish condition, and he was delivered to go to the heavenly planet. So this is about Prithu Maharaj. Punnaraka trayati iti putra. This is what Shastra says. Who is a putra? Putra means one who can deliver you from hell. That's why putra has the adhikar to perform shraddha. What is shraddha basically? You're just offering Vishnu Prasad to your ancestors to deliver them. That is the business of a son. The son has the capability of delivering his father from a terrible condition. And that is exactly what Prithu Maharaj did. Prithu Maharaj didn't just think, okay, my father was a terrible man. Now I get the kingdom and now I get to enjoy this place. And yes, I set right earth. Everything is fine. I forget about my father. He never thought like that. The same thing was in the case of Prahalad Maharaj. Prahalad Maharaj was tortured by his father in so many ways. But Prahalad Maharaj never thought, oh, he was such a sinful man, let him stay in hell. He didn't think like that. He prayed to Lord Narsimhadev to forgive his father. Sorry, not forget, forgive his father. So that is the glory of a true son. That is the duty of a son. That is the glory of a son. That is the real meaning of putra. Otherwise, we are not putra or putri. Putra, putri, everything same job we have. We have to deliver our ancestors. That is why we are born, right? In one sense, that's why the dynasty they say you should continue to have children, and then the dynasty should flourish so that your ancestors are delivered. That's how the traditional understanding, customary understanding is. But anyway, here we see that Prithu Maharaj, not only was he a great king, not only was he so responsible to take care of the kingdom, but he delivered his father also. That is one point that is very interesting that is mentioned in this particular verse. Now, the other point that Prabhupada brings our attention to is about the system of Varnashrama Dharma. So, in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, we should understand that the Brahmanas are in the top of the society. And by their learned labor of love, they instruct the administrator kings on how to rule the country with complete righteousness. That is the work of the Brahmanas. So basically, the administrators or the Kshatriyas, they always keep Brahmanas in their council of members, in their ministry, so that they can get proper advice from the Brahmanas. And without taking permission from the Brahmanas, usually Kshatriyas, they do not execute their tasks because the Brahmanas are there to give them proper guidance. Hmm? And the Brahmanas would refer to scriptures like Manu Samhita and talk to the king about the code of law, right? That is what the Brahmanas do. So they were like guides and they would guide the innocent people towards the right direction. And that is what the Manu Samhita had provided the society with. So these Brahmanas, they are very, very valuable in the king's ministry. Prabhupada says, even up till the time of Maharaj Chandragupta, the Brahmana Chanakya was staying there as an unpaid prime minister. Okay. So without Chanakya's guidance, it was very difficult for Chandragupta to steer his kingdom. But what happened in the case of Vena? Though Vena had Brahmanas, he did not adhere to the principle of ruling. He disobeyed the Brahmanas. And the Brahmanas, they were very worried for the subjects. And they wanted to chastise him in various ways, but he would not listen. So, as a last resort, they had to unfortunately utter the curse, and Vena died. Okay. So, but whatever Brahmanas do, they do it only for their ultimate benefit, for the ultimate benefit of every soul. We see that even in the case of Vena, though he attained a hellish condition and he died because of the curse of the Brahmanas ultimately benefited him. Through his body, they were able to take out another life form. Actually, they could separate out the negative and the positive aspects of his body. And they created a person by the name Nishadha, who was later, that story comes where they churned out his body and Nishadha was formed. And then we had Prithu and Archi. Now, because Prithu was formed from the body of Vena, ultimately Vena was also benefited, right? As the son, Prithu Maharaj, he delivered his father. So the Brahmanas, they are always doing something for the favor of, for our keeping our well-wishing, keeping the well-wishing attitude of everybody in mind. So that was the story of Prithu Maharaj, who was an incarnation of the Lord. We will read her story in great detail later. Okay. Next one, text number 10. Nabhe rasau rishaba asa sudevi sunor yo vai charachara smagrit dricchada yogacharyam yat paramahamsyam rishaya padamamananti swasta prashanta karanaha parimukta sangha. Anyone would like to read translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and was known as Rishabhadeva. He performed materialistic yoga to equibalance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied.
So the Lord appeared as King Rishabdev, and his father was King Nabhi, and his mother was Sudevi, also called as Meru Devi in the 5th canto. Again, we will read the story of Rishabdev in canto 5. And yes, initially, Mother Earth was called as Ajanabha because of the great King Nabhi and his son Rishabdev. But then later she came to be known as Bharata. Why? Because of Rishabdev's son Bharat Maharaj. So the entire world came to be known as Bharat because of Rishabdev's first son Bharat Maharaj. Now this Rishabdev was an incarnation of the Lord. And how did he conduct himself? The story goes on in the 5th canto that he gives instructions to his 100 sons. And these instructions are very, very valuable. They are great teachings. Now, this Rishabdev, after he gave up his kingdom and during his retirement, he decided to go to the forest. And there he practiced a sort of yoga that is known as Jada Yoga. Jada Yoga means you act like a deaf and dumb person without giving any interest, applying any interest to your body. And a lot of description is given in the later 5th canto that he had kept stones inside his mouth and he had practiced Mauna Vrata. And he did not speak to anyone or talk to anyone. He would not clean his body. He had zero bodily attachments. And even he didn't clean himself after stool and urine. And it is even mentioned that his stool and urine would be so fragrant, because it was not ordinary, right? It was not ordinary. And later, again, we read in the fifth canto, looking at his activities, some people they got misguided, thinking that this is a way of perfection, and they started imitating him, and they came up with a philosophy of Jainism. So, if you study the philosophy of Jainism, not study the philosophy, but if you read their history, you will see that their first Tirthankar was none other than Rishabdev. So their entire religion centers around the activities of such Jada Yoga. And in fact, Prabhupada quotes something interesting here in the purport. He says such yogis out of many such such yogis out of many self-infliction methods practice plucking of their hairs on their heads without shaving and without any instrumental help. So the Jainas, especially the Jaina sannyasis, they have to pluck out every single hair from their body. So it is not very recommended by the Vedic tradition. And in the Vedic tradition, it is only considered as unnecessary torture to the self. It is not considered a very high class way of living anyway. But the Prabhupada clarifies the real purpose of Jada Yoga is to get free from material affliction and become situated in the self. Rishabhadev, he was wandering like a dumb man. He was not affected by any sort of bodily attachment, and he was behaving like a madman, meaning to the common public. He was having long hair, long beard, and he was completely naked. He didn't care for his body. In fact, seeing him, so many people they were thinking, "Who's this person?" And they would even spit at him. Hmm. He would lie on his own stool, but then what? His body was so fragrant. So it was very difficult to understand that this was a great Paramhamsa. In fact, he was the Supreme Lord himself. Uh, but people, they concocted their own philosophy and came up with a different religion, trying to imitate him and look at him, look at his activities. So that is how things had changed eventually. And Prabhupada further, he mentions the real purpose of Jada Yoga, as mentioned here in this verse, is prashanta karanaha. That means you have to make your karanas prashanta. You have to subdue your senses. That is the whole idea of Jada Yoga. And in this age and time, it is not suitable for practice also. But however, Rishabhadev, who was the son of King Nabi and the grandson of Agnidhara, the father of Bharat Maharaj, he was able to practice this great austerity. And Rishabhadeva's son was later the great king Bharat Maharaj, after whom this earth is named as Bharata. There is another clarification that is given in the purport, that in this verse, the mother of Rishabhadev is mentioned as Sudevi. But however, we should understand that Meru Devi is non-different from Sudevi. Okay. But there are some people who mention that the king had two wives, Meru Devi and Sudevi. So, but however, that opinion we cannot take. It is again clarified by the acharyas that you cannot take that opinion, because ultimately throughout the rest of the Bhagavatam, he is described as the son of Meru Devi. If they were two different people, why will Bhagavatam, say one thing in one canto and something else in a different canto? So if Bhagavatam is using two different names, that means both the names mean the same person. That is the understanding we should not think that they are two wives. Okay. So this is the conclusion of the acharyas about Sudevi and Meru Devi. Both of them are actually the same person and not two different wives. Yes, Tulsi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat. One quick question. I don't know if I misheard, but did Rishabdev put his toes in his mouth, or did I hear that correct?
Stones. Sorry. Stones.
Stones.
Stone.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
stones. Acha, rocks. Okay.
The way I pronounced it was bad.
Okay.
But
No, I
stone.
was imagining something weird, like raising your feet and putting the toes in the mouth or something. But
That our Ale Krishna will do. The Krishna on the banyan leaf who gave darshan to Markandeya Rishi. He does that.
Okay, and and this so the Jad Bharat, that Bharat Maharaj who becomes Jad Bharat, he is different from this Bharat son. He's the son of. I'm confused. Is he the son of Rishabdev Bharat?
The original person who got bewildered by the deer, the one who went to the forest to practice austerities and then who didn't take association of devotees and got bewildered by the deer,
Yeah.
he's the same Bharat as Rishabdev. Son, Rishabdev's son. Something my tongue is not working properly today. I'm saying all sorts of okay. He's the same as I should pray to the Lord before I speak. Oh my God, my tongue is all twisted. Okay. He is the same as the son of Rishabdev Bharat Maharaj. Then later, after he gets bewildered by the deer and all that, he takes birth as a deer and then he takes birth as Jada. So it's the same personality ultimately.
Acha, so that when he behaves like Jada Bharat, right? Disconnecting, not behaving normally or whatever, is it because he learned from his father Rishabdev or nothing like that, right?
Nothing like that because it's a much later birth, right? He was born in a Brahmin family later. His father was a well-learned Brahmana, but he behaved like this.
Okay, in that way, it was another birth, right? Not
Another birth, yeah, not the same.
okay, after the deer birth. Okay, thank you, Mataji. I just got confused.
Very good. Okay, next. So that was about King Rishabdev. Okay, I'm just giving summary and also reading some important points from Prabhupada's purport. So we and these incarnations, how much ever we speak about them, it's so relishable. Every incarnation we can just keep talking forever. And I love these chapters where we get to hear about all these incarnations of the Lord. So it's very interesting. But anyhow, the entire Bhagavatam is going to present us with more stories and in-depth details about these incarnations. So the next one, text number 11. Satre mamasa bhagavan hayashirasato sakshat sayajna purushastapaniya varna chandomayo makhamayo akila devatatma vachao bhad बहुद्भिरुषितः अशाश्वतोऽस्य नष्ट. Translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Lord appeared as the higher incarnation in sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the whole of his body is golden. He is personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sound of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostril.
Okay. This is about Lord Hayagriva. Haya. What is the meaning of Haya? Horse. Right? Vaji, Haya. All these are meaning for horse. Hayagriva means he had above his throat, he's a horse. Okay. Griva. Griva is Kanta. So Griva is the throat section. So from there, he's a horse. So this Hayagriva incarnation is a very special incarnation. In some places, he appears as golden. In some places, he appears to be spatika, somewhat whitish color, like the color of spatika. So he is described in various ways. Sometimes described as golden, sometimes described as whitish. And very nice adjectives that is used here. What is he? He is Tapaniya Varnam, of course, which is golden in color. Chandamaya, meaning he is personified Vedic hymns, Chandas. Chandamaya, Makhamaya. Makha means what? Sacrifices. So he is Makhamaya, personified sacrifices. Akila Devatma, he is the super soul of all the demigods. So, when he breathed, all the sweet sounding Vedic hymns come out of his nostril. How did the Vedas originate? We say the Vedas originates from Brahma, right? But before Brahma, where did it come from? Because Brahma himself is not the originator of the Vedas. Brahma himself receives the Vedas, right? But the originator of all the Vedas is the breathing, of course, the breathing of the Supreme Lord, but specifically Hayagreva. So he's Vedamaya, complete embodiment of the Vedas. And he's got a very beautiful form. He has a horse head. His body complexion is like spatika or like completely like golden. He has Lakshmi on his left lap, and he sits in Virasana. There are two ways of describing Virasana. One way of describing Virasana is to fold your legs at the back. The other way is to keep one leg folded and the other leg down, like how Lakshmi Narasimha sits or like how Hayagriva sit, with Lakshmi on their left. And he holds the Vedas in his hand. And he also has the conch. Okay, so this is the description of Lakshmi Hayagriva. And he is the very embodiment of both sacrifices and the Vedas. He is the Paramatma of all the demigods. And when he breathes, what happens? All the Vedic hymns, they come out from his nostril. So there are many stories about what Hayagriva did, right? Hayagriva gives protection to the Vedas. These stories are mentioned in Mahabharata. It is also mentioned in other Puranas. That once Brahma, he lost the Vedas. How can somebody lose the Vedas? Veda is all Shrautiya, right? Meaning like it is just heard, it is sound vibrations. It is not a book that is written. Of course, we like to represent Vedas to be like a book. Even when you see the form of Hayagriva, it appears like he's holding some books in his hand, holding some palm leaves in his hand. But actually, that is only an indication. Vedas means it is heard, it is just vibrated. So, how can Brahma lose the Vedas? That is a classic question that people ask. But however, the idea is that in one of the Puranas, it is mentioned Brahma yawned and he forgot the Vedas. So that's why when somebody is yawning in a class, they forget that portion of what they have heard. Okay, so such things we hear from our Gurujans and other great senior Vaishnavas. They tell us that you should be very careful when you're hearing about Krishna, when you're hearing Veda, when you're hearing philosophy. You should, if once a person begins to yawn, what happens? Yawning is like a contagious disease. One person yawns, everybody yawns, and everyone forgets what they wanted to hear. So generally the class is stopped. In those days, they would have what is called as kalakshepa. Kalakshepa means closed doors. Like instruction from guru to shishya used to happen. So when that happens, they are very strict. If someone yawns, the class is stopped because there is no point continuing the class. Because when you yawn, what happens? Forgetfulness kicks in. So this is all some analysis that is made by our acharyas, and they say you should never yawn during a class. That means everyone is tired, so better to stop the class. So that's exactly what happened with the Brahma. All this problem came when Brahma yawned, right? So when Brahma yawned, what happened? He forgot the Vedas. And forgetting means he was overpowered by a demon. And in that way, he forgot, and the demon possessed the Vedas. Okay, through the yawning, there was a demon who came and he possessed the Vedas. Now, this story is spilling through various Puranas. So there are different layers from different Puranas. Now, who are these demons? That is the next question. The demons were named as Madhukaitava. So that's why Krishna is known as Madhusudhana. Yeah, Kaitavahari, Madhusudhana. You must have heard the names of these demons. How did they appear now? Okay, Brahma himself was just created and he's just learned the Vedas from the Lord, and now he has forgotten it when he's trying to create. Now, where did these two characters come from? These two characters, it's another story is there in the Puranas that there was wax coming out from the Supreme Lord's ears, it seems. And this is, I think, in Devi Bhagavat. But the whole story is a mix of various Puranas that I'm trying to tell. And from there, two demons were created. Even in Mahabharata Shanti Parva, you'll find the story. It's not something that is just from some Tamasika Purana or something I'm trying to say. It's there in Mahabharata as well, and it is a compilation of various Puranas. So from this wax of the Lord himself, he created these demons. The Lord himself decided to create these demons. Which Lord created? Hayagriva himself created. And one demon was called as Madhu. It came from the word Mrudu because he was very soft. So he came to be known as Madhu. The other demon was Katina. He was very hard. So he came to be known as Kaitava. So Mrudu became Madhu and then Kaitava. Where did it come from? From the earwax of the Lord himself. And these two demons, they were sent to go and steal the Vedas. Why were they sent by the Lord to steal the Vedas, and why were they killed later? They were sent to steal the Vedas because apparently Brahma became a little inattentive, or he had a little pride, little inattentive. So the yawn started, so the demoniac influence came, so the Vedas were stolen by Madhukaitaba, who were also created from the Lord. But then the Madhukaitaba, they are demons, okay? So whether they're created by the Lord or not, they are demons. So now Brahma started crying. He was like, oh, I've lost the Vedas. Then he comes and he surrenders to the Lord. And then the Lord decides to kill these two demons. So how he kills us, he puts them on the Hayagriva. He just places them on his lap and he crushes them. That's how he apparently kills Mrudu and Katin. So Madhu Kaitaba, both of them are crushed. And the story doesn't stop there. They are killed. And the Medas means fat. Medas is smeared on earth so that earth becomes nice and luxurious and fatty, meaning earth becomes very prosperous. Like we just saw Vasudha, right? She's full of all the wealth, Vasu. So earth became nice and full of vegetation and all that because of the Medas, because of the fat that was smeared by Hayagriva. So like that, Hayagriva is very interesting personality. And again, we see the story of Hayagriva mentioned in the 11th canto. So what does Hayagriva do? He gives knowledge, he gives the Vedas. So anyone who gets in touch with Hayagriva, they would obviously learn the Vedas. That is what the purport of this entire story is. Okay, in the purport, Prabhupada, he says, Vedic hymns are generally meant for sacrifices performed by fruitive workers who also want to satisfy the demigods and achieve their fruitive result. But the Lord is personified sacrifices and personified Vedic hymns. Therefore, one who is directly a devotee of the Lord is a person who has automatically both the purposes of sacrifices and please the demigods. The devotees of the Lord may not perform any sacrifice or may not please the demigods as per Vedic injunctions, but still the devotees are on a higher level than the fruitive workers or worshippers of different demigods. So, if we are a devotee, that means we are experts both in Vedic sacrifices as well as we become expert in everything pretty much. We have automatically pleased the demigods and we have understood the purpose of the Vedas, which is pleasing the Supreme Lord. Okay, so that was Hayagriva incarnation. Next. Matsyo Yuganta Samaye Manonopalabdha Shoni Mayo Nikila Jiva Nikaya Kita Vishram Sitanurubhaye Salile Mukanme Adaya Tatra Vijara Haveda Margan. Translation, anybody?
At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaishnavas Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water, at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas. Hare Krishna.
So, we all know the story of Matsya, right? The Matsya incarnation. And this is at the end of the 8th canto. The story of Matsya is very beautifully explained. There was a king by the name Satyavrata who was a great king of the Pandya Desh, and he was near river Kritamala, which is called as Vaigai today. And there he went, and he wanted to perform his morning and evening rites. At that time, when he was taking water for Arghya, he sees a small fish. And as you all know the story, the fish grows and grows and grows. And then finally, the fish has told him to leave him in an ocean. And then this fish incarnation, he protects all the important living entities, the herbs and the Vedas and everything. And during the journey, during the devastation, Satyavrata, he hears everything, all the instructions from the Supreme Lord Matsya. And later, he comes back, this King Satyavrata, he comes back as Vaivasvata Manu. Now, who is Vaivasvata Manu? The current Manu is called as Vaivasvata Manu. Okay, so our current Manu, the one who's ruling now, he's called as Vaivasvat Manu, and he's the son of Vivasvan, who's the sun god. So this is about Matsya avatar. But then there is another aspect of this Matsya avatar. What is that other aspect? He also killed a demon. Now, who is this demon he killed? Another story, similar story, is that there was another demon by the name Hayagriva. We just saw the Lord Hayagriva, right? So now here is a demon by the name Shankasura or Hayagriva. He's also called as Hayagriva. He's also called as Shankasura. So what did he do? He went and stole the Vedas. So then the Lord appeared as Matsya, and he protected the Vedas in the vast ocean of devastation. Because the Shankasura had taken it and he had put it in the ocean of devastation, and the fish incarnation went and saved the Vedas. So according to some Puranas, this demon's name is Shankasura, while according to some other Puranas, the name of the demon is Hayagriva. Now, this Hayagriva demon is different from Lord Hayagriva. But of course, both of them are dealing with Vedas only. So sometimes there is a lot of confusion. Who stole the Vedas? Who protected the Vedas? So there are two incarnations who protected the Vedas. One is Lord Matsya himself. The other is Lord Hayagriva. There are two personalities who stole the Vedas. One is Madhukaitava and the other is Shankasura or demon Hayagriva. Okay. So that was about the fishing.
Mataji, the Shankashura is from where he got a conch, Mataji.
No, this is different. This demon.
Oh.
Hare Krishna Mataji, these are in different manvantars.
Yeah. All the stories belong to different manvantars.
Like protecting the Vedas by Hayagriva versus by Matsya are different manvantar stories, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So whatever we see in the Bhagavatam is about one full kalpa. And in one kalpa, so many manvantaras come, right? So in different manvantaras, these stories are spread out. And sometimes one incarnation comes multiple times in multiple manvantaras. So sometimes Matsya, he comes and he protects he appears in front of Satyavrata. Sometimes he just comes and kills the demon Shankasura. So like that, depending on the time of descent, different pastimes are created by that Lord in that particular incarnation. Just like we say that Matsya also appears in multiple times. Varaha appears at least 2 times. So like that, in one day of Brahman, multiple manvantaras, different incarnations appear. Sometimes these incarnations, they can appear multiple times also.
Okay, Mataji. Understood. Okay, I'll ask later.
Yeah. क्षीरोददावमरदानवयूतपानाम् उन्मथनाममृतलप्तय आदिदेव पृष्ठेन कच्छपवपूर्विदधार गोत्रम् निद्राक्षणोत्रिपरिवत्त कषाणकन् Sindhu. Anyone for translation?
Translation Jai Srila Prabhupada. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandar mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandar mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
So the demigods and the demons, they wanted to churn what? They wanted to churn nectar. They wanted to churn nectar, and therefore they wanted to take help of the Lord. Now the Lord was thinking, yes, I will go and help the demons and the demigods, but his real purpose of going there and taking the form of a kachapa or a tortoise was not just for so that the demons and the demigods can churn and get nectar. The real reason for him going there and participating is because he had an itch on his back and he wanted someone to scratch his back. So he thought, okay, I'll take the form of a tortoise and I'll put the mandara on the churning rod on my back and I'll get I'll get my back scratched nicely. And then what happens when someone is nicely scratching your back as you're falling asleep? You breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out. So you get into a deep state of sleep. And that's what was happening with Kurmadev. And as he was breathing in and breathing out, what happens in the ocean? Waves are formed. This is how the Acharyas describe the pastime of Matsya, of Kurma. So Kurma, basically, he wanted someone to scratch his back. So he went and he stood under the Mandara mountain, under the rod, and he slept there. He took a deep breath. He let out his deep breath, and he created waves in the ocean. So that's how waves in the ocean were formed. But anyway, this is a very sweet way of putting forward the pastime of Lord Kurma. In this verse, very nicely, it says, the mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of the Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. Of course, we know the main story that the demons and the demigods, they wanted to churn the ocean of milk and they wanted nectar. And initially, the poison Halhala came out, and then Lord Shiva drank that poison. And then later, very many living entities and beautiful personalities came out. The Lord had another desire also. He wanted his consort Lakshmi also to come out. So he was having pastimes in all directions. He was present on top of the mountain. He was present on the side of the demigods. He was present in the bottom. And then he was the one who brought the Amrit, the nectar from the ocean of milk. So like this, he was there in all places. He was the strength in the demons and the demigods. As Lord Ajita, he was on the pivot of the mountain. And also he was taking the side of the demigods. So like this, he was present in so many places during churning of the ocean of milk. And we will see this detailed story in 8th canto and the different ingredients that came out from the churning of the ocean of milk. Prabhupada in the purport, he tells us we should believe this, first of all, that there is an ocean of milk, just like how there is ocean of salt water here. Similarly, elsewhere, there is an ocean of milk. And there this pastime has actually happened. And how traditionally our acharyas, they just take Vedas Praman, whatever is mentioned in scripture, they take it as it is. They don't deny the existence of God. They don't deny the existence of anything that God has created, which includes the ocean of milk. So it is very much possible, is what Prabhupada is saying. It is very much possible that this ocean of milk is existing somewhere. After all, it's a statement of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is confirmed by great spiritual leaders like Sridhara Swami, Jiva Goswami, Chakravarti Pad, and others. So all that we have to do is follow in the footsteps of the great authorities, and we can imagine that we should understand that all these places actually exist in the world. Yes, it is beyond our imagination, but still they exist. So, and would the Lord take the form of a fish or a tortoise? That is the next point Prabhupada is making. And he says, yes, very much. The Lord can take any form he wants, and he will perform beautiful pastimes in all these various forms. But however, though he might take the form of a fish or something, he doesn't get affected by the body of a fish. He's always transcendental, right? So there's also a question that Parikshit Maharaj asks later at the end of the 8th canto. He says, why did the Lord have to take the form of an abominable fish? Why? Boar, fish, such animals, why would he take? And our Shukdev Goswami, he says, just like the passing air doesn't get attached to the actual fragrance, it might be passing through a very nasty place, the air. It might pass through a beautiful garden where there is fragrant flowers, but the air itself is not contaminated, meaning it doesn't hold on to that smell forever, right, as it moves on. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, he has no infliction of any sort of material attribute on him, irrespective of whatever form he may desire to take. And the last part of the purport, Prabhupada explains how this form of the Lord, he was so gigantic, he was so big, because the entire Mandara mountain had to be stuck on his back. So you can imagine how big he was. And the only business that he had was he wanted to get his itching sensation relieved. That's all he went for. So that was our Kurma avatar. The next one is the most famous, Nrisimha, everybody's favorite. So we'll read that verse. त्रैपिष्टपुरुभयहास नृसिंहरूपम् कृत्वा भ्रमद्भ्रूकुटिदंष्ट्रकरालवक्त्रम् दैत्येन्द्रमाशु गुदयाभिपतन्तमारात् ऊरौ निपत्य विधादर नखैस्फुरत्नम्. Anyone give for translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'll read.
Yes.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Narsimha Dev in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand by placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth. Hare Krishna.
Right. That is our Lord Nrsimhadev. And where did he come? Yes, to prove the word of his dear devotee Prahlad that he exists everywhere, to give protection to his devotee. And of course, he killed the demon Hiranyakashipu. And we know how he was a very quick incarnation. He just came for a short period of time. He completed his business and he left. But to this day, he is the most celebrated incarnations. He's very famous, right? Everybody talks of Lord Nrsimhadev, though he was such a short incarnation. And how did he kill this demon? By using his nails. Of course, Hiranyakashipu, Prabhupada says that he tortured his great devotee son Prahlad Maharaj. He had become very, very powerful because of the various material achievements he received through the boons of Brahma. And Brahma could not give him immortality. But somehow or the other, Hiranyakashipu devised a way to become eternal. So what did he say? I don't want to be killed by any man or demigod. I don't want to be killed by any live or dead weapon. I don't want to be killed in the day or night, on earth or sky. So he went on putting so many different conditions. But the Lord, however, is more smart than anyone can be, and he takes the form of a half man, half lion. And this is beyond the imagination of anybody, the kind of form that he took. And he takes that form and he very intelligently kills this Hiranyakashipu. So anyway, that is what ultimately demons get into. They think they're very intelligent, but the Lord outwits everybody. And Hiranyakashipu, the name itself means he who is after gold and soft bedding. That is the nature of all materialistic men. They become very puffed up with all the materialistic acquisitions and they think that they can remain immortal. But then the Lord crushed all such ideas and he killed Hiranyakashipu. So this was about Lord Nrsimhadev who appeared to protect his devotee and destroy the materialistic plans of the godless demons. Okay, text number 15. Nrsimhadev's story is detailed in the 7th canto. And it's nice that you have more than 10 chapters just describing one story, one incarnation. Such a short incarnation, he takes all the spot in the 7th canto. But the interesting part is he doesn't take the limelight. Prahlad Maharaj takes the limelight. 7 chapters almost in the 10th canto, in the 7th canto is all about Prahlad Maharaj, and our guest appearance is Nrsimhadev. But anyhow, more than 10 chapters are about the story of Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Next one. Antasarasi urubalena pade grihito ग्राहेण यूतपतिरम्बुजहस्त आर्त आहेदमादिपुरुषा किल लोकनाथ तीर्थश्रवश्रवणमङ्गलनामधेय. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I say?
Yes.
The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted.
Haribol. This is the story of Gajendra Yuktapati, the leader of the elephants. What did he want to do? He wanted to offer a beautiful lotus flower that he had picked, and the Lord came to accept it. Yeah, the side pastime is that he was in great distress and he was attacked by a crocodile and he was trying to protect himself. He used all his family members to help him, but nothing worked out. And he called the Lord, he surrendered to the Lord, and the Lord simply came and relieved him. Here, the word for crocodile is graha. Graha means that which has an influence on you, that which holds on to you. That's why we talk about planets. When planets have an influence on you, we say there is some graha dosh. The graha means that which captures, that which holds. So similarly, a crocodile, it comes and captures, it holds, right? This material world is also like a crocodile. This, we are just stuck between the teeth of that crocodile that is trying to capture us in this material world. That is our condition. And we are also like Gajendra. Our feet is being caught, our entire existence is being caught in this material world. And all that we have to do is we have to surrender unto the Lord if we want to escape the influence of this material world. But the beauty is how Gajendra, he takes a lotus flower in his trunk and he addresses the Lord. How did he address the Lord? He said, Adi Purusha, the original enjoyer, Akila Lokanatha, the Lord of the universe, Tirthashrava, a famous place as pilgrimage, famous place of pilgrimage. Shravana Mangala, all good, all good. Shravana Mangala, all good and auspicious. That is Shravana Mangala. So he calls out Adi Purusha, Akila Lokanatha. So when he calls out specifically to Adi Purusha, the original creator, the origin of everything, the only Lord of the entire universe, the Supreme Lord arrived. Because when he used such terminology, the demigods could understand that Gajendra was not calling out to them. They could understand very clearly that he's only calling out to Vishnu. And the Lord appeared in the form of Lord Hari. This pastime comes in the 8th canto, in the first 3 chapters of the 8th canto. And this form of the Lord, he is called as Hari. He was born as the son of Harimeda and Harini. And he came and protected this elephant. The way he comes on Garuda is also mentioned very beautifully in various scriptures and by the realization of various acharyas that he was in great hurry. Hari was in a hurry to come and protect Gajendra. So Hari came in a hurry and he didn't even care about how he was ornamented. He didn't care about whether he's carrying Garuda or Garuda is carrying him. He was in such a hurry because his dear devotee had called him. So he went running to give protection. And he immediately, the Sudarshan Chakra, these are all realizations of different acharyas. They say, oh, the Sudarshan Chakra didn't even wait for his command. Sudarshan Chakra immediately left his hand, went and cut off the mouth of that crocodile and relieved Gajendra immediately. And then Lord Hari, he brings out Gajendra from that water and he accepts that lotus flower. So this is the beautiful story of Gajendra. And Gajendra at the end of all this, even while praying, he tells the Lord, actually, I'm not praying to you because I want to be relieved from this crocodile. But the reason that I am praying to you is I want eternal liberation from this material world. I want to be out of this material world. So Gajendra ultimately, he acquires Sarupya Mukti. He gets a form like the Lord and he enters Vaikuntha. So this is the glory of Gajendra Moksha. This Gajendra Moksha should be chanted early morning, and one should think of Gajendra, the protection given by the Lord to Gajendra, as per the Phalashruti that is given in the 8th canto at the end of the beautiful narration of this story. So it's very nice, very, very beautiful. Oh, one story that right from childhood, everyone is being told the story, bedtime stories for kids. But one thing we all should learn, at least I'm telling for myself, is everybody is actually an artha. If you see in this particular verse, it says, Grihita Grahena Yutapatihi Ambuja Hasta Artha Aha Idam. He was greatly aggrieved. Artha Jignasu Artharthi Jnani. 4 kinds of people come to Krishna, right? Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam Janaha Sukritana Arjuna Artha Jignasu Artharthi Jnani Cha Bharatarshabha. So this Artha means what? One who is very distressed. He was in great distress. We are all in great distress in this material world. Maybe 1 or 2 days we'll be happy, but the 3rd day we are in great distress. What can we learn from this Gajendra Moksha? What we can learn is how to surrender unconditionally. We cannot, our situation is bad, we accept it. But sometimes with our own endeavor, we keep trying and trying and trying to get out of it, right? But there is a better formula. Better formula is to just keep doing what you have to do very sincerely. At the same time, surrender unto the Supreme Lord. When we surrender unconditionally unto the Supreme Lord, definitely the Supreme Lord will give us protection. We should have that faith, like the Artha, who's Gajendra. He came to the Lord with some problem only. See, all of us have problems. Many of us are not pure devotees where we can just go to the Lord for the Lord, at least in the initial days. Ultimately, we learn the lesson that we should just seek the Lord's shelter because that's our business, right? We are all part and parcel of Krishna. We are his eternal servants. And Prema Bhakti is all about just loving the Lord without any expectations. That is what we should aspire for ultimately. But how did we come to this process? Either we were distressed or we were seeking something like seeking wealth like Dhruva Maharaj, or maybe we were inquisitive, or there are some people who are already self-realized and they want to understand the Supreme Lord. So like this 4 different kinds of people come, but this Artha category is very prominent. And Gajendra tells us what you should do under such circumstances. So that is the beauty of the story. I'll go through the purport, and then Praladananda Prabhu actually raised his hand. We'll ask him to speak. I'll just finish off this purport. So Prabhupada says, the history of delivering the leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in the river by a superior strength of crocodile, is described in the 8th canto of Bhagavatam. Now the Lord, he is described in various ways. The Lord is non-different from his holy name, right? So when Gajendra was attacked by a crocodile, he called out to the Lord through his prayers. And the Lord hears the prayers and he comes to relieve the distressed devotee. So when we when we are in great distress, the best way to think of the Lord is to call out to him. That is the best thing that you can do. Just like Draupadi, when she was in a very terrible situation, she just left everything and she called out the Lord's names. Yeah. So that is the best way to connect with the Lord. The minute you do that, Lord immediately appears. Lord Hari, he appeared on the back of his eternal bearer, Garuda, and delivered the elephant. So now Prabhupada says this elephant, he was conscious of his relation with the Supreme Lord. He was blessed to be a Jati Smara, meaning he immediately, when he thought the prayers that he had offered in his past birth as King Indradhyumna, again of the same land, Pandya Desh, he was also a king in that place. So he was cursed by King Agastya because he failed to offer obeisances when Agastya had come. He was somehow very engrossed in deity worship, in worshipping his Shalagram Shila actually. According to other Puranas, that's what he was doing. And he failed to get up and offer respects, and Agastya Muni cursed him to become an elephant. So now, and of course, according to Bhagavatam, he was in Samadhi, he was thinking of the Lord, which is true, both ways it is right. And he was cursed and he took up the dumb body of an elephant. But then, once he was in great distress, immediately Krishna reminded him of all the prayers that he had learned in his past birth. So, how beautifully he addresses the Lord, right? In this one verse, 3 different terminologies are detailed down. The first word is Adi Purusha, the second is Akila Lokhanatha, the third is Tirtha Shrava, and the fourth is Shravana Mangala. So these are the 4 words that is used to glorify the Lord, and these 4 words are detailed by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. So he says, the elephant addressed the Lord as Akhila Lokanatha, the Lord of the entire universe, meaning this Lord is the Lord of the elephant also. So the elephant is telling, you are my Lord, you should protect me, right? And you have promised that your devotee will never be vanquished. So the elephant, with all right, he called out to the Lord, saying, you are Akila Lokanatha, you are the one who has to protect everybody. You are the first protector of this world. So you please come and protect me. So this is the nature of a devotee. The nature of a devotee, therefore, Prabhupada says, a pure devotee is given first preference because of his full dependence, whereas a person who denies the existence of God and declares himself as the Lord is only an asura. And as such, he is given protection by the strength of limited power, subject to the sanction of the Lord. Since the Lord is superior to everyone, his perfection is also superior, and nobody can imagine it. So for the Lord, the devotee is the first preference. So when the devotee calls out, "Oh Akhila Lokanatha, Dwaraka Nilaya Achyuta Govinda," when devotee calls out like that, immediately the Lord gives him preference and he comes. That is about Akhila Lokanatha. The next word used here is Tirtha Shrava. Tirtha Shrava means one who is famously known as a place of pilgrimage. So, see, people, they go to pilgrimage in order to vanquish their sinful activities. But however, instead of going to a pilgrimage place, if you just call out the name of the Lord, automatically our sinful reactions are vanquished. Right? When you chant the holy names of the Lord, immediately one gets delivered of all sinful activities. So he is called as Tirtha Shrava. That is his name, meaning like you don't really have to go to a Tirtha Sthan to get your sins removed. But if you just consciously or unconsciously chant the holy names of the Lord, everything is taken care of. The next word used by Gajendra is Shravana Mangala. This means one who receives everything auspicious simply by hearing the holy names. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the other names of Krishna is Punya Shravana Kirtana. That means it is a pious act simply to chant and hear about the Lord. So when you hear about the Lord, when you chant about the Lord, all auspiciousness is bestowed upon you. And the Vedas and Puranas, they are full of different descriptions of how various activities of the Lord has happened. And when one hears or reads about these activities, all auspiciousness is bestowed upon them. This is what Prabhupada is telling. We don't have to invest our time and energy in reading some mundane scriptures that is full of passion and ignorance. Rather, what we can do is just hear from the Shastras, and automatically all auspiciousness is bestowed. So it is concluded that the holy name of the Lord and the topics in relationship with Him are always worth hearing, and therefore He is also called as Namadheya, one whose name is worth chanting. So these are the different names used. What are the different ways of calling? What are the different names that is used for the Lord? The first one is Adi Purusha. The second is Akila Lokanatha. The third is Tirtha Shava. The fourth is Shravana Mangala. And the last one is Namadheya. So like this, Gajendra, he called out to Lord Hari. And Lord Hari came in a hurry to immediately protect his devotee. Yes, Praladananda, please go.
Then Pranam Mataji, could I share a little reflection? This is a
Yes.
kind of personal this thing.
Yeah.
In 1988, 4 years after I was initiated back in Africa, I had read this Bhagavatam that time, you know. And in one lecture some Prabhuji was giving at that time, he emphasized so much on this fact, this word Adipurus. He
Yeah.
says that Brahmaji spoke so many times, Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami, like that. And then he said that one should memorize all the slokas of Adi, ending with Govindam Adipurusham from Samhita, from, I think from slok number 28 or 29, like that. So he said so emphatically that one who remembers these whole slokas of Brahma Samhita ending with Govinda Madhursan, he would benefit like Raja Indradyumna. Even if I committed, in next life he will remember this, you know, and can get liberated like that. So I got so
Very
much
good.
influence that. And from there, I memorized all those slokas. And until today, I'm still singing every day like that. Just
Hari,
because this
Hari,
gave me such a kind of impetus, you know, that to sing these slokas every day without fail.
Hari.
And that will help me next birth, like Gajendra will help like that, you know. So I just wanted to share a little how Bhagavan Krishna, comes with other devotees' mercy and gives you this such kind of encouragement from Bhagavatam like that. So this is what I just wanted to share, Mata.
Wow, from 1988. You got
88, yeah.
initiated. You
I'm
got
sorry.
initiated. You got initiated in 1984, is it?
84 years. And then, I started reading Bhagavatam like that. And then in the 88, I was able to read this part of Bhagavatam. This is, I think, second, the volumes I had, the 30 volumes Bhagavatam, and I still use that one. So I just thought of sharing this, that how powerful is this message which comes from Mercy of Sri Prabhupada and his pure devotees. I think Radha Govind Swami was the one who was giving those lectures, and he emphasized that one should remember all these slokas like Govindam Adi Purusham, memorize them, and they will go in your subconscious, and they can help you in the next life. And they have become an associate like that. So this is how I just wanted to share that, Mama, just to encourage. I like that. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow, that was so inspiring. Many of us would have been just born, some of us not born. When you have had all these different experiences, we have such Varishta Vaishnavas on the call. It's amazing, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing this. And more than anything, I think we are all inspired that we should also follow in your footsteps and try to memorize such verses, like at least, at least the Gajendra Moksha prayers or something, any set of prayers that we can also chant following in the footsteps of these devotees. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for inspiring all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mata. Hari Bol then.
And I see some chat comments. Don't even open it. Yeah, Sunil Prabhu has also sent some verses. Yam dharma kamartha vimukti kama. About worshipping the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Next one. This is also Gajendra Moksha. Same thing. Verse number 16. It's about Lord Hari who came to save Gajendra. Shrutva haristamana sorry. Aranartithanam aprameyas chakrayuda patangaraj bhujadhirudha chakrena nakravadanam vinipatyak tasmad dhashte pragruhya bhagavan kripayo jahara. Very nice. Came on Garuda. What form of Lord is Hari? Hari is eight-armed form. And I think that's what is described here, if I remember correctly. Oh, it's not that like that. Okay. He came standing on Garuda, right? So let's see what the translation says. Translation says a personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel chakra. With a wheel, he cut into pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him on the trunk. By his trunk, lifting him by his trunk. Sorry, I think I got confused with some other form of the law. Okay. So, Prabhupada says, the Lord, he resides eternally in his Vaikuntha planet. And we cannot estimate, right, how far this Vaikuntha planet is. But we are very foolish. We are trying to reach different planets through our airships and all that. And this is all, Prabhupada says, it's just a waste of time. Actually, the yogis, they can reach distant planets very quickly with the help of their mind. And if one becomes a devotee, he can easily go to the Vaikuntha planets as well. So the Vaikuntha planet, it is transcendental. Krishna is transcendental. A mere elephant was able to pray to the Lord, and the Lord could hear it several miles, several eons or whatever, light years away in the Vaikuntha planet. So this is all possible by the unlimited power of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord here, he is described as Aprameya. Aprameya means one who cannot be measured, or one who cannot be understood by the, ordinary mental concoctions. So he is beyond all that. So he cannot be measured, and he is aprameya. Even the best human brain cannot estimate his powers by mathematical calculation. The Lord can hear from anywhere. He can even hear from a distant place. He can eat from there, and he can appear simultaneously in all the places at a moment's notice. Such is the omnipotency of the Lord. Such a beautiful purport. Prabhupada says he can be simultaneously present in multiple places. He is omnipotent. Draupadi was able to call from the Kurusabha, and Krishna, who was elsewhere fighting with Shalva, he was able to hear what Draupadi wanted, and he was able to provide her with sari. All right. So Krishna is omnipotent, and he hears a devotee. Now, this is an important point. We also offer prayers, we also call out to the Lord, but the problem I can say for myself, is that when we are calling out to the Lord itself, we don't have the faith that the Lord is hearing and He's going to come. When an innocent child calls out to the Lord, the innocent child doesn't have the intelligence or the mundane contaminated thoughts. And the innocent child really believes, if I call, Krishna will come, right? That is the kind of call we all should have. I was just thinking of my own situation. When I say I'm surrendering to the Lord. When I say, oh Krishna, I just give this up and you take care, okay, whatever the situation may be. When I'm saying that also, I'm not sincere, because even while saying that, I'm thinking how I'm going to control the situation. So when I'm calling out to Krishna, oh Krishna, please come and help me, in that, when that call, there is no sincerity. Meaning it feels like anyhow you won't hear, anyhow you won't come. That kind of thought is already there. It is already polluted in the mind. But we should, I mean, it's hard, but when we hear stories of Gajendra, we can see stories like Gajendra calling out for Krishna, or Draupadi calling out for Krishna, Kunti Devi calling out for Krishna. When we hear these stories, at least somehow we have to train our minds, is what I was thinking, to feel, to do it sincerely, because Krishna will come. Krishna will come. That faith we should have. We fail to see how he comes. That's not what we should be doing. We should not be analyzing how he's going to come or something. That is his way. But when we call out, we should have full faith. Yes, he will protect. Yes, he will come. When that full faith is there from deep within the heart, I feel that is when Krishna will really reciprocate. So if Krishna is not coming for our call, that means we are not calling out sincerely. But we should remember, like how this purport says, Krishna is omnipresent. He can hear from anywhere. He can come from anywhere. He can come in any way. Of course, he's the Paramatma in our heart. He's watching every second of what we are doing. So definitely he can be there for us. So that's what I was ultimately thinking about this whole prayer of Gajendra and how he came for Gajendra. Sunil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, regarding what you spoke just now. So how do we get this childlike faith, Mataji? It's so difficult, at least for me.
Yeah, I know. For me also, it's for everybody, anyone who has crossed this age of innocence, it is very difficult. We have so many coverings of our ego and our learning that we think we are ultimately in control, or even our faith is not pure. It is not pure. So how can we get over it? As we hear these, the best part is Shravanam, Prabhu. The more we hear, the more we hear about devotees who have surrendered unconditionally, the more we hear this over and over. That is how we can consciously correct ourselves. It is also a lot of introspection that we have to do, because without introspection, there is no scope for improvement, right? So we should hear and we should introspect, hear and introspect. That is the only way, and eventually we can get corrected. Of course, take association of devotees who have that faith, but how many of us get that kind of association where you're getting to associate with a person with 100% faith? When you get that association, you should hanker to imbibe whatever that person is exhibiting, that is there. But even if we don't have that faith, if we don't have that association, what we can do is we can hear and hear and hear and develop that faith, that I should also become like Gajendra, or I should also be like Prahalad. When Narasimhadev said, where is Krishna? Prahalad, without a thought, he said, he's everywhere. Is he there in this pillar? If someone tells me, is Narasimhadev there in this wall next to me, I will say no, because I'm very confident he's not there. Right? I'm so confident he's not there here. For me to have the faith that he is in the DT required so much training by Srila Prabhupada's books and taking association of Vaishnavas. Yes, Krishna is present in the DT. For us to take that faith that Krishna is there in the DT took us so many years of training in Krishna consciousness. But yes, we can hope that someday we also become that person who can see Krishna everywhere. So we have to just I think this is the way. Yes, we have to hear, we have to meditate, hear, and again, reminisce what we have heard about these great devotees and try to do some self-guided introspection and try to achieve that faith that Krishna is there, he's everywhere, he's there to come for me. Right?
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah, others have other inputs and we can take those inputs. Anyhow, we are stopping at verse number 16. I will give Vamanadev verse to Kirtana Mataji. It's beautiful verses, 2 verses about Vamanadev. And then we have some very interesting incarnations coming forth. Such lovely incarnations are being mentioned after this. But we'll stop here for today. This Leela incarnations are very beautiful. We can just keep going on. Yes. Tulsi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Going back to the Hayagriva incarnation where you mentioned that Madhukaitab were created from the wax of the Lord's ear. So when they were created, did the Lord ask them to go to steal, or they just went to steal as soon as they got created on their own only?
On their own only they go. On their own only they
Acha.
go.
So
They have demoniac tendency and on their own only they go.
okay. I guess the Lord would know that what that type of demons would generally do, and then
Yeah.
okay. And the other question was like when I was young, in some Devi prayers, it was mentioned that like Ma Durga destroyed Madhu Kaitaba demons. So there are some other Madhu Kaitab, or like
Ultimately in Devi Bhagavat, I think that's where you're getting the Praman from. Devi Bhagavat is, if you read Devi Bhagavat, the entire scripture talks about how everything was under the control of this goddess Adi Parashakti, the one who creates even. So that's a different. See, the point is, it is a Upa Puran, and it is also the mode of. It is not in the mode of goodness. It is not among the Satvika Puranas. But that is the Praman where it is mentioned that she is the one who created everything, and from her only Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they all came and they are all subordinate to her, and ultimately she is the one who helps in the destruction of these demons. So that's the way of presenting in that particular Puran. Yeah.
okay.
Mataji, what I read, I mean, it was in, I don't remember, Durga. I used to read Durga Stuti, I think, Devi Stuti. So in that it said that Madhuketa were same thing story came from the wax of Lord Vishnu, they say, and then and they were fighting with Lord for 5,000 years, maybe celestial years, and then after that Devi influenced the minds of these Daityas. And they said that, oh, we are so happy, ask for a boon. They said, okay, then just be killed with my hands. And that's how.
Yes. Yeah,
So that's what I read.
How, yeah, exactly. So the Lord, they are very impressed with the Lord, and then the Lord says, okay, get killed by my hands. Is that how it goes?
So yeah, so it's like Devi she's acting as like I don't know, Mahamaya or Yogmaya, and she
Yeah.
influenced the minds, that's what that thought
Go and
came that
ask for a boon. Yes, yeah, that's right. Even I've heard that. Yes,
but killed by the hands of Lord Vishnu only.
Lord Vishnu, yes. And then that is the boon that they get. And finally, the Lord picks them up and he kills them. Yes, Mataji, that's right. And the same story is also mentioned in Mahabharata Shanti Parva. The same retelling is there.
Things are coming together, yeah. Maybe not exactly.
Yeah, they
word
just
to word, but yeah.
bits and pieces and they all come together.
Yes, Mataji. Hari
Okay, Mataji, thank you. And one quick reflection I wanted to share, that the graha and the graha that you were explaining about crocodile, I was remembering the verse from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai. Like how to grasp the holy name. I was just thinking that graha grahyam.
Yes,
You cannot grasp. Na grahet, na bhavet grahyam indriyai. Sevon
Sevon
yehi jivada swayam eva sfurat.
theater. So beautiful. How nice. Very nice connection. Very well. Okay. So we'll end here and we'll continue this nice topic. One of my favorites also. So we'll continue this in the next class. Okay. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. We'll end here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.